Thomas in hot water.
Thomas, are you listening to me?
All right, I'll take on water.
Thomas had never liked the water tower at the junction. It was old and took in salt water from the sea. Thomas thought it tasted funny.
Well, it does taste funny. Stop, that's enough to get to the next station.
You're just being fussy.
I am not fussy. It's not like you use it either.
That's because I'm a splendid red engine, ready for anything.
Who always stops up at the big station just so they don't have to use this foul stuff.
Ugh, to you too, Thomas. Honestly, just a little branch.
Thomas often thought of telling the Fat Controller about it, but he didn't. He told the other engines instead.
It's just not good enough, is it? After all, my branch line is the most importantest part of the region. Doesn't that sound good? I know, Gordon. Why the Fat Controller would let it fall into such a state of disrepair is beyond me, especially since...
Oh, if you don't like the tower, why don't you just not use it?
Well, I don't really use it often, but...
The Fat Controller has much more important things to do than consider your little branch line. And so do we.
Just what I was going to say. Well done, for once.
Well, now you listen here, Henry. My water tower is important, running my line and... Silly big engines.
Now, Thomas didn't like being called fussy, and he didn't want to make a fuss either, so he didn't tell the Fat Controller at all.
Maybe I am making a big fuss over nothing.
Oh, we've been saying that for years, Thomas.
Every little crisis becomes an emergency, doesn't it, Annie?
Oh, yes. I wonder what the Fat Controller really thinks.
He probably thinks I'm a fussy little engine.
Oh, what nonsense, dear. You're not fussy, you're...
Stubborn.
Yes, ever so stubborn.
Stubborn as an ox.
I am not stubborn.
By the time he reached the junction, Thomas was feeling hot and bothered.
Stubborn. And fussy. Indeed. Fine, I'll use the water tower. That'll show them.
Usually, Thomas looked forward to a nice cool drink, but because he had not used the tower, the water had been in there for a long time. It was old and stale and not very cool at all.
Finally using that water tower then.
I'm thirsty.
Good for you! Now hurry up, please, and get out of my way.
What?
My lovely coat of red paint ruined by seawater!
It serves you right for hurrying.
Thomas went to the harbour to collect his train, but by the time he had arranged the trucks, the weather had changed.
Nice weather for ducks.
Mind you don't stick in a tunnel, Henry. Something must be wrong.
Something was wrong. The hot salt water in Thomas' tanks wouldn't flow into his boiler.
Oh dear. Please, I need a drink.
I don't know what's wrong, Thomas. You've damped down your fire and it's downhill to the next station.
I feel like I'm going to burst. Oh dear.
Come on, Thomas, just a little further.
It's too hot. I'm too hot. Oh dear. Oh dear. I have to stop. I'm going to stop. I have to stop. I have to stop. I'm going to... Oh! Bust my my buffers!
Oh, Thomas. Blown fusible plugs, warped firebox. You have been through the wars, make no mistake. What happened?
It's the water, Edward. Driver says it was full of salt.
Salt?
Yes, because the tower takes in water from the sea. It clogged up the feed pipe to my boiler.
Which stopped water flowing from your tanks. Are you talking about the water tower at the junction? Thomas, you've been moaning about that for weeks. Why didn't you just tell the Fat Controller so we could put things right?
I told the other engines, but they just thought I was being silly. After all, the Fat Controller has a whole railway to run. I just didn't want to seem fussy.
Is that so, Thomas? You have a lot to learn about running railways, I fancy. Perhaps you better leave it to me. Well now, you've found yourself in hot water. Your firebox was damaged when your boiler ran dry. You'll have to go to the works for repairs. Good day to you.
Edward took Thomas to the works. He was away for a long time until, one day, several weeks later.
Oh, Thomas! We have missed you, Thomas.
It hasn't been the same since you left.
James pulled us, and he was, well...
Oh, we are pleased you're back.
Oh, I'm happy to be back. I've missed you all as well. Oh! So the Fat Controller did do something about the water tower.
Yes, he did. This is connected to the main supply. It should be nice and cool.
Well, it's a start, I suppose. Maybe now he can get started on that damp bit near the river, or the trees by the tunnel, or well, I suppose.
You are such a fussy engine.
No, I'm not fussy. Unlike you big engines, I have standards to keep. Now, we can't laze around being really useless, so if you'll excuse me, I have to be off. Annie, Clarabel, do come along, we're rather late. Do come along, we're rather late.
Coming along, we're coming along.
Oh, bye-bye, Henry, bye-bye.